Welcome to Turning Back the Pages, the podcast where usually children's book authors discuss their favorite childhood books. This month, however, I'm talking to artists about their favorite art found in children's books. Today, artist Marion Lindsay is joining me to discuss the art in Anatole. Marion Lindsay is a children's book illustrator who lives and works in the UK. She is best known for creating the artwork for the chapter book series Zoey and Sassafras, written by Asia Citro. These wonderful stories allow Marion to draw some of her favorite things: a strong female main character, her brilliantly fluffy cat, magical creatures, and science experiments, all set in a lush, natural environment. Marion has always been arty, and after studying illustration for her first degree, she moved to Sweden for the better part of her 20s, absorbing influences from Scandinavian culture and developing a lifelong thing for all things Moomin. On returning to the UK, Marion completed an MA in children's book illustration at Cambridge School of Art, winning the prize for Best New Talent in her graduating year. Since then, she has illustrated a great many chapter books, as well as picture books, school books, and all sorts of things in between. Marion lives with her family in the Cotswolds, where, whenever she gets a moment, she likes to paint a picture or decorate something, anything that needs a picture or pattern. She has a great love for black ink on paper, which alternates with a great desire to use every color in the palette. So welcome, Marion.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Well, I was going to show you. My 6-year-old is a huge fan of Zoey and Sassafras. She's obsessed with all things cats. Oops. And she drew this for you.
Oh my goodness. That's gorgeous.
So she said that if Sassafras ever needed a friend, that she could use her friend.
You know, I have a 6-year-old too, and she doesn't seem to be in the slightest bit interested in reading one of the books I've illustrated, to the point where I've actually tried saying, look, lots of kids really like these books that I drew. And just like, oh, mummy, I just don't want to read something boring.
Well, one day.
But thank you. I'm very heartwarmed. A 6-year-old is a fan.
Very big fan. She loves all the pictures, and she pores over the pictures before we even start reading the books together. So
that's so lovely. She's
in a cat. Anyone who listens to the podcast is probably tired of me talking about how we're in our cat phase, but she is in a major cat phase, and she and her little sister play Zoey and Sassafras all the time. So, and she's usually Sassafras. So you've got a really big fan in our house. All right. Well, you chose the book Anatole by Eve Titus, which I did not know anything about the author and not much about the illustrator. So, why don't you go ahead and we're going to do our recap challenge, and I'm going to give you 1 minute since this is a longer book.
Oh, that is very kind. Okay.
And so you can start in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Anatole is a very sophisticated Parisian mouse who goes out every night to search for food with his friend Gaston, and he brings it back to feed his family. But he goes to human houses and takes their leftovers. One day he overhears a comment. People are talking about mice as villains, and he's absolutely devastated. And suddenly feels that he's doing something awful, and he's not respected, and he needs to find a way. Anyway, so he comes up with an idea to become a cheese taster and help the local cheese factory. And he does. He goes in with lots of little tiny labels and tastes the cheese and puts comments in the cheese to help the people that own the cheese factory to improve. And they do. And yeah, it's a very bizarre story about being happy with your work, I guess, and feeling proud of it. Did I run out of time?
That was right then was your time, so that was perfect.
Yeah, it's funny and quite dated. It's from the 50s, but I love the sentiment.
Yeah, it was a really interesting book. I really liked the story, and I loved the ending. So if you should ever meet a mouse looking for leftovers, you will know at once that it cannot possibly be Anatole, the happiest, most contented mouse in all of France.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah, he's a great mouse.
A lovely mouse. Okay, I'm going to try to do the recap in 1 minute, and I think you covered everything, but yes, so Anatole is written by Eve Titus, and it is about a happy little mouse, but one day he does hear that mice are the enemy. Mice are sneaking into the kitchen and rummaging the garbage, and so he just hates that mice have become the enemy. So he decides to help out a cheese factory, and like Marion said, he puts little notes on all the cheese. So some were good, some were no good, and when the factory decides to follow his advice, the cheese becomes better, and then Anatole is made first vice president in charge of cheese tasting. And there are several books that follow about Anatole as well. Okay, that was right at time.
Very good. Yeah.
There's older books just have a lot more usually to them.
They do. And they can be quite bizarre stories, can't they, as well?
Mm-hmm.
This one is, I think what was funny about this is very much a memory from my childhood, this book. I didn't really have lots and lots of books of my own. I went to the library and borrowed books, so I have some sort of half memories of old books that I really loved, but I never really knew what they were because I've forgotten. But this one I actually have, and I was really overjoyed when I realised my parents still have it in my old room, and I could read that one to my little girl. But I realised, having not looked at it for such a long time, that it definitely kind of sunk in. I think the artwork sunk in because it's got this beautiful two colours. So I think this is done when people, so it was, I can't remember what year, but it's in the 50s, and when printing was very different, and I think the artwork needed to be done with, so a black, the black for the line, and then on a separate plate it would have been the blue, and then another one for the red. So the pictures were not complete. So when the artist made these pictures, he would have made 3 pictures, and they would only have come together in the actual print, which is such an interesting way of working, and so different to now, where you have the color separation and you can print whatever you like.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So this is a new copy, which I think is just digital printing, and it's not as nice as my original, which has got a sort of more beautiful turquoise to it. But I do think that the red and the blue and the black and white has come through. I was looking at some old student work of mine.
Oh yeah.
Blue.
That's lovely.
I didn't think about this at all. I think it all just went in.
That's so funny. For those listening, she just held up one of her illustrated books that have the same color palette. Yeah, that's so funny. So let's talk about Eve Titus. You made a good point. This is the illustrating mini-series, but I looked up stuff about the actual author, not the illustrator. I didn't even think about that. A lot of times they're the same, but I do have a little bit of information about Eve Titus, who's not the illustrator. The pictures are by Paul Galdone. But Eve was born in 1922 in New York City. She was an American children's writer, most known for books featuring the anthropomorphic mice characters, Anatole being one, who's a heroic and resourceful French mouse, and then Basil of Baker Street, a Victorian-era mouse private detective who imitates Sherlock Holmes. Basil might be best remembered by people my age in the 1986 Disney animated feature film, The Great Mouse Detective. Titus wrote 21 mouse books in all. She believed that you shouldn't write down to children, but write with the same excellence as one would for an adult book. In an interview with Eve, she was showing her house to her interviewer, and they said that she liked to decorate with tiny mice figurines. Can you guess how many mice figurines she had in her home?
No, I really want to know now, though.
More than 450 mice figurines.
That's an obsession. That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
She was also a concert pianist. Titus was a member of the Mystery Writers of America in New York City and the Baker Street Irregulars, which is an organization of Sherlock Holmes enthusiasts. As of 2015, that is a nonprofit organization, and it has about 300 members worldwide. And Titus passed away in 2002. So, let's talk about your experience with Anatole. So you just talked about some of your memories reading the book. So did your parents read it to you, or what else do you remember about your first time reading?
To be honest, I don't really remember reading it now. I think it just was always there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's really funny with books, when they feel like just a part of your childhood,
mm-hmm.
and it's just always been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's how The Magician's Nephew is for me by C.S. Lewis. It was just part of my childhood to the point that when I read it again in 7th grade, it was so familiar to me because I played Magician's Nephew. I was like, I thought I read this book. And so it was just it was so much part of me that I don't remember reading it. I just remember absorbing it.
Yeah, that's it. My other one like that, the one that I nearly chose, I'll spring this one on you, is Alligator Pie. I don't know if you've ever.
I don't, but that looks like a fun book.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm still loving this one. It's a Canadian book. I've got Canadian relatives, and this one was sent to me and coloured in by me, actually. In 1977. Okay. So there you go.
There you go. Yes, and I just looked. Anatole was written in 1956. So that was when Anatole came out.
Yeah, it's funny. They're quite dated, but I think I love that artwork. I love the strong graphics. I think this one's very interesting for the kind of, the way the print has changed as well. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you would never make it like this now, that you have one page black and white, then you have another page colour, and it alternates throughout the books, or rather one double page black and white and one double page colour. It's just money saving,
Yeah. I've noticed that with a few of the older books that I've read, that it's black and white, and then a couple of pages will have a little bit of color.
And as well, this is my favourite, I think. You get the blue is printed over the red here, so it looks nighttime. It makes the red dark. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, sorry, this is really rubbish for a podcast, isn't it?
No, it's great. No, it's great. Can you describe that picture for the people who are listening?
So this is one of my favourites here. Anatole. Every night he goes into Paris with his partner Gaston. And Gaston's a cool customer, really, and they're biking in. I think these illustrations are so great because they're quite loosely done, but they're so mousy somehow. They're not kind of very neat, particularly. Anyway, so they're just having a chat together on their bikes, and it's just beautiful, and it's a nighttime scene. So the way it's done is the blue kind of goes over the top of everything. The only places where you don't see the blue are where the lights are. there's two lights on the front of their bicycles and one night light at the top, like a lamp. Yeah, gorgeous. The other thing is that I always just thought this was such a French book. I think when I was little, I thought I was quite sophisticated because I liked this French book about these very sophisticated French mice. And now I look up and find out about the author and the illustrator, both American.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I before doing the research, I definitely thought it was going to be a French author. So I was very surprised when she was from NYC.
Yeah. I guess that's why it's good to find out about things and not take things for granted.
Well, I'm sure you were very sophisticated as a child. What stood out to you as you read this as a child? Was it the story or the art or both?
I think probably the art just sort of went in and I didn't think about it particularly. Mm-hmm. I think the things I liked when I was younger were liked for different reasons. I don't know, I think I just really liked this quirky little story and the feelings as well, the sentiment that you can change, I suppose, and that feeling that actually somebody can make you feel just not great about yourself and then you can make a difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's not the message particularly. I like the idea that he suddenly feels that he needs to have pride in his work. Mm-hmm. So he goes off and figures out how to do that, mm-hmm. By using his particular skills as a cheese-loving mouse. Yeah. It's good problem solving, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so I think I like that message, but it's also just quite quirky.
It is very quirky. Yes, I love all of the mice, and all the names of the mice just made me laugh as well.
Yeah, another reason I thought I really believed this was French. Paul and Paulette, Claude and Claudette, Georges and Georgette. Yeah.
Oh, and they're funny, cute little mice as well.
Yeah, but they're very. There's a nice technique that he uses, which mm-hmm. is dry brush here. And I always think they're not sort of cute somehow. Mm-hmm. They're sort of not cute like Beatrix Potter there.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mousy. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures again as well. It is very different from like what you're saying with Beatrix. I always love, this is on page 8, I always love when artists include like wedding photos. It's such a small little detail and not the focus at all, but the background of things like that always just make me smile, like that would be a picture that's hung up in a home.
Yeah, that's really great, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It makes me think of Orlando. Have you come across the Orlando books?
I don't know about those.
My mum has an absolutely wonderful book. I might have shown that one to you if she would let me have it, but she won't. It's very cruel, I think. It's a really large picture book from when she was a child, and she was born in the 1940s, so it's mm-hmm. a really old book. And yeah, Orlando is a very fine cat. The kind of picture that they would have, I really love those really old books. They're mm-hmm. so nice.
Yes, I love the old books as well. Turning Back the Pages is sponsored by bookshop.org. Okay, no, not really, but let's talk about bookshop.org. Bookshop.org works to connect readers with independent booksellers all over the world. Every purchase on the site financially supports independent bookstores. I've chosen my local independent bookstore, Thank You Books, for when I purchase a book from bookshop.org. And Turning Back the Pages has its own shop. All the books discussed on the show can be found on the show list at the store. To find out more, you can click on the link in the show notes. Or, if you wanted to do it the hard way, Google bookshop.org and search for Turning Back the Pages under the shop search on the website. Happy shopping, happy reading. How do you think the art helps tell this story?
Hang on, let me have a think about that. I just think the characterization is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that I don't really know how this artist quite does it, because these faces and the mice are not, they don't tell a lot somehow. I think the artist has done a really good job of working with the body language.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think this picture here where he's feeling a bit depressed and he's talking to his wife about it. It's sort of got a drooped attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like everything is spoken through that. And this picture here is him going up to the factory, and he's such a tiny mouse compared to this enormous factory. You know, I just think it's interesting how the reliance is really not on the face so much, but more on the body. And there's another picture here with a gigantic mountain of cheeses and the very tiny mouse who's in the background as well to make him extra little.
And those cheese look huge compared to him.
No, I really like that. It's not really. Mind you, I have to say I'm not so keen on the people. I think this artist does a really fine job with these mice. I don't love the people so much.
I would agree. Some of the people, maybe because it does have too much of a focus on the face. Anatole looks so proud in the end.
He does, doesn't he?
Versus that drooped picture earlier, he's standing proud, and his children look so happy.
It's funny how, you know, it is a very dated story in that he's the breadwinner or cheese winner, as it were, and you know, his wife stays home and looks after the kids. So it's a story from a different era, but everything about it kind of speaks like. In this picture, he looks kind of like my grandpa somehow. You know, just like it's from a different time.
It is.
Love that.
It is, and all of the man in the chair with all the children surrounding does speak to times of past. Yes. You've already talked about a little bit that you think you just absorbed some of this art. Do you think that this art has inspired you in any other ways? Or what ways has it inspired you?
I think, yeah, it probably has really. I think a lot, I mean, not just this book, but I think all of my childhood books. I like this strong line. So if we go back to Alligator Pie, I love pen and ink. I love these. I don't know. It's very bizarre. I know they're quite strange. Stories from the past, peculiar.
Oh, that's such an interesting drawing.
Yeah, I really love the weird use of colours. Books of my childhood. I sort of, and the strong use of contrast as well. And look at that really strange alligator there.
It is a very strange alligator.
Yeah, it's not cutesy. I think that's something I like, but probably not something I do, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I know. It's lovely, isn't it?
I really like it.
Sorry, again, I really need to describe these for the better. I'm reading these ones to my daughter now. They're nonsense poems, sort of nonsense poems.
I love that.
Very bizarre.
I love the dragon drawing. It is very interesting.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Billy Basser, what's the matter? How come you're so sad? I lost my cat in the laundromat and a dragon ran off with my dad. My dad. A dragon ran off with my dad.
I like it.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, in my work, I've kind of done a lot of pen and ink work, which Zoey and Sassafras is pen and ink, and a lot of my other stuff is pen and ink. But I kind of Zoey and Sassafras is a bit more half tone, or a lot more half tone. So it's more of the greys in between, but I really like as well that kind of real black, like, hang on, real black and white which is a bit old-fashioned, I suppose. This is something I did called Maisie Hitchens, and
I like that.
I didn't use any half tone in this, which is always nice for print because you're just printing black, if you see what I mean.
Right.
So you make up your tone in different ways, and I think that is something probably I've absorbed from
Mm-hmm.
the work of the 60s and 70s.
Right. I like those illustrations. Which book is this?
These are Maisie Hitchens' books.
Oh, right. I remember reading about those. We have not read those yet.
Well, I haven't read them to my daughter yet either, and probably it's never going to happen given her view of my work, but anyway.
Would little Marion be surprised you're an artist?
No, I don't think so. No, not really. I think I always wanted to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know what sort of artist to be, and it kind of just became apparent when I realised that illustration is something that doesn't just happen. It doesn't just the book doesn't grow with the picture inside it. Someone actually makes it. And I thought, oh, maybe I could do that. So yeah, it makes sense, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about your work. So we've talked about Zoey and Sassafras, and then you just held up the other book just then. Tell me about what you've done.
Oh, well, I've illustrated lots of chapter books. So Maisie Hitchens being one of them, and Zoey and Sassafras and Belladonna and various ones. I've illustrated books for Diana Wynne Jones as well. I love her writing. And then I have done a few picture books as well. Not for a while, but yeah, I loved doing picture books. But they are so much work. It's amazing. 32 pages.
How long does it typically take to illustrate like a whole chapter book?
I think it takes, I don't know, it's always hard because you don't exactly go and you do the roughs and then you wait for a while and then you do the artwork and there's changes in between and so on. You always need to hear what the publisher has to say, that they, what they want you to change and so on. So I would definitely leave it about 4 months, but it's probably not working all that time.
Right.
Yeah. But that's probably turnaround time, yeah.
That's interesting. What's the whole process of illustrating like? Like, how do you come up with ideas, and do you and the author work together? Are you and the publisher?
Normally, you don't really have anything to do with the author, funnily enough. It's the publisher that would put the two together. In the case of Zoey and Sassafras, that was completely different, which is lovely. So I've worked with Asia from the start with that. But the main thing is you need to come up with a character. And it's so funny how I really love that process because you just do lots of drawing. You have your ideas, you do lots and lots of drawings, and you sort of here and there you think, oh, maybe I like that one or I like this one. And then you sort of get feedback from the publisher or in the case of Asia, the author. And you slowly you find something that works, and then you try and draw that character again, and you just can't do it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't look like the same, and it takes a while to work out what it is that made that character like that. And then once you've got it, it's easy to keep on drawing them the same way. It's really funny, that process. I've gone through and, I've actually had to trace a drawing, a really scruffy little drawing in a sketchbook somewhere, just to try and figure out what was it, what am I copying that isn't working? So yeah, there's always this time, especially when you go back to a character, when, the books come with quite an interval in between sometimes. You have to go back and draw that character, and at first you just can't do it. And then it's almost like you can't stop once you got it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think.
In the Zoey and Sassafras books, Zoey and Sassafras both help a lot of magical creatures, and these are, some of them are in the general, your unicorns and stuff like that. And then some of them are a little bit more unique. Have you had a favorite magical creature that you've drawn?
Oh, I really, really loved drawing, I can't remember what she's called, the Wishy Poof, this little one.
Yes.
Which was based on, so that was book 9.
Is that the one that eats all the joy? Or is that a different one? No, that was the one that hiccuped. That was the one that hiccuped.
Grumplets.
Yes.
Are good fun
Grumplets,
too.
yes.
This little thing has hiccups.
Yes, she had the hiccups and it kept on changing things. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. But the remit for this one was like, Asia said, I sort of imagined one of those seeds, a bit like, the floating seeds, like from dandelions or something like that. And I thought that was so nice. So I really enjoyed doing that one.
That's fun.
Ethereal and floaty. And very weird looking, actually.
That's very fun. Well, who do you hope reads any of your books besides your 6-year-old eventually?
Well, I mean, it's really amazing hearing from kids that they like my books. It's so lovely. I had a phone call with my mum the other day, and she said, I started reading your books, dear. I think they're really good. I said, thanks, Mum. I've not read them before. She actually admitted that, she was like, because I always give her, like, I am your daughter, I'm giving you your advanced copy of my next book that I've done. So you have a complete library of my work. I am your daughter. And she'd be like, oh, well, I've looked through and seen the pictures, and they were nice, but she actually started reading them. I was quite touched by that.
That's funny. That's nice.
No, I'm very happy to hear that kids like the books and like my pictures as well. It's so lovely when I get pictures sent to me that they've done, and things like World Book Day and stuff, and they dress up as Zoe. They're cute.
That's lovely. Can you share where people can follow you or anything else that you would like to promote?
Oh, well, there's a new Zoey and Sassafras book coming out on the 8th, which is
Tuesday?
From the 8th of October.
Yes.
So I guess that will have just come out.
Oh, yes, true.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Otherwise, I am on Instagram. I'm not always very good at being on Instagram. I do try. But yes, I'm at Marionibird if anyone wants to come and say hi on Instagram. That's always lovely. So that's about it, really. I've got a website.
That's great. I will link to that in the show notes. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Turning Back the Pages. If you have any author suggestions or artist suggestions, please feel free to email me at whatallywrites@gmail.com. You can follow the show on Instagram or Twitter on What Ally Writes. Ally is ALLY, and don't forget to subscribe.